If the people closest to you seem supportive, yet your progress consistently slows in their presence, this is not coincidence. Machiavelli warned that the most dangerous enemies rarely announce themselves. They do not arrive through confrontation or open hostility, but through familiarity. They sit beside you, share your space, listen carefully, and wait. Most people believe betrayal is loud, marked by harsh words, arguments, or visible opposition. Machiavelli understood something far more unsettling. True danger is almost always quiet. It smiles at your ideas, nods at your ambitions, and applauds just enough to remain close. Fake friends are not driven by hatred alone. They are driven by comparison, by insecurity, by the silent discomfort of watching someone near them evolve while they remain unchanged. Lacking the courage to confront this truth within themselves, they choose a subtler path. They stay close. Proximity creates power. Those near you gain access not only to your plans, but to your doubts, your timing, your emotional rhythm. A false friend rarely sabotages you directly because exposure would follow. Instead, they influence you indirectly, through hesitation disguised as caution, distraction framed as concern, and quiet discouragement that feels reasonable in the moment. They plant questions where certainty once lived. They normalize delay. They soften urgency until momentum dissolves. Pay close attention to this pattern. A fake friend rarely celebrates your forward motion. Success is met with delayed praise, muted reactions, or a subtle shift in energy that you can feel but cannot immediately explain. Machiavelli would say this is not intuition, it is observation refined by experience. Another sign is excessive agreement. The false ally avoids challenging you, not out of respect, but out of strategy. They listen more than they speak. They let you reveal your direction while offering little of themselves. Information flows in one direction, and power always follows information. Most critically, false friends reveal themselves under pressure. When your growth demands discipline, focus, or solitude, they frame it as arrogance, obsession, or emotional distance. This is not concern, it is control. Machiavelli taught that anyone who benefits from your stagnation will resist your transformation. Exposure, then, is not confrontation, it is withdrawal. You do not accuse, you observe, you reduce access. You stop explaining your moves, and in the absence of proximity and information, false loyalty collapses naturally. The wise do not fight hidden enemies, they outgrow them. And when you do, clarity returns. In the following points, we will explore 7 subtle, lesser-known signs of fake friendship, drawn from Machiavellian philosophy, psychological research, and everyday human behavior. These signs do not require confrontation. They require patience, silence, and attention, because the most powerful defense is not exposure. It is understanding. Point 1, they are present during stability, absent during transition. Fake friends are most comfortable when your life is small, cyclical, and easily anticipated, because predictability allows them to orient themselves around you without effort or risk. The moment you begin to evolve, through discipline, self-respect, clearer boundaries, or a sharpened sense of purpose, you disrupt the silent agreements that once kept the relationship stable. Psychologically, growth represents loss to those who benefited from your former self, because your change removes access, leverage, or comparison. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this pattern clearly. People defend consistency, not out of loyalty, but because it preserves advantage. When you alter your habits, values, or trajectory, their position relative to you becomes uncertain, and uncertainty exposes hidden motives. This is why resistance often appears subtle rather than confrontational. Missed encouragement, passive remarks, emotional withdrawal, or quiet skepticism disguised as concern. True allies may not fully understand your transformation, but they remain emotionally neutral or calmly supportive, allowing you to expand without friction. Fake friends, however, feel threatened by movement itself because it forces them to reassess their place in your life. Pay close attention not to who praises you loudly, but to who does not tense internally when you rise. Indifference to your growth is far rarer than enthusiasm and far more honest. Point 2. They gather information without offering vulnerability. A false friend often knows a great deal about you while revealing very little about themselves, and this imbalance is rarely accidental. It begins subtly, almost invisibly, through conversations that feel supportive on the surface. They ask thoughtful questions, remember intimate details, and encourage you to open up under the guise of concern or curiosity. Over time, you begin to notice a pattern. You are transparent, emotionally available, and exposed, while they remain carefully undefined. This asymmetry creates a quiet hierarchy. Information becomes leverage. Long before modern psychology named it, Machiavelli understood that knowledge is power, and that the person who gathers facts without offering vulnerability positions themselves above the other. Contemporary psychology confirms this dynamic through the concept of asymmetrical disclosure, where one individual gains psychological control by knowing more than they reveal. Such a person is not seeking connection but advantage. They collect your fears, ambitions, regrets, and weaknesses, not to understand you, but to map you. This allows them to anticipate your reactions, subtly influence your decisions, and, when necessary, weaponize what you once shared in trust. Healthy friendships do not function this way. True bonds are built on reciprocal risk, where both parties reveal themselves gradually and proportionately. Mutual exposure creates balance, safety, and respect. When only one person is consistently open, the relationship shifts from companionship to surveillance. Over time, this imbalance drains your energy and erodes your sense of autonomy, often without overt conflict. The danger of a false friend is not betrayal in dramatic moments, but the slow accumulation of unseen power. Awareness is your defense. When you recognize that someone knows everything about you while you know almost nothing about them, pause, observe. True allies do not hide behind silence while extracting intimacy. They meet vulnerability with vulnerability. Anything less is not friendship, but strategy. Point 3. Their support is verbal, not behavioral. Fake friends speak encouragement but act indifferently, and this contradiction is never accidental. They offer words that sound supportive, even flattering, yet their behavior remains distant, delayed, or entirely absent when action is required. You will notice them praising your ambition, affirming your vision, and nodding along when you speak of growth. But when it comes time to show up, to assist, to sacrifice even a small convenience, they vanish into neutrality. This is not confusion on their part, it is strategy. Performative loyalty is designed to keep you emotionally disarmed while costing them nothing. As Niccolò Machiavelli understood, words are the cheapest currency in human interaction, while action always demands payment, time, energy, risk, or reputation. Those who avoid paying this cost reveal their true position without ever openly opposing you. This is why reassurance should never be mistaken for alignment. Fake friends rely on language to simulate closeness, knowing that most people are soothed by affirmation and slow to notice absence. Their indifference appears subtle, delayed replies, passive responses, excuses framed as busyness and enthusiasm that never converts into effort. Machiavelli warned that power lies in observation, not emotion, and the wise learn to measure people by consistency rather than comfort. Real loyalty is quiet, often unannounced, and visible through repeated behavior over time. It shows itself in follow-through, in presence, and in small sacrifices made without being asked. When encouragement and action do not align, believe the behavior. Do not confront, accuse, or seek explanations. Those only invite more words. Instead, withdraw expectation and adjust access. Observe who remains when reassurance is no longer required. In doing so, you preserve clarity, protect your momentum, and prevent those who invest nothing from benefiting from your trust. Point 4, they subtly compete rather than collaborate. Competition disguised as friendship is one of the most overlooked patterns in human relationships, precisely because it hides behind familiarity, shared history, and the comforting illusion of goodwill, operating quietly where trust is assumed rather than questioned. These individuals rarely present themselves as open adversaries. Instead, they stay close, attentive, and subtly comparative, positioning themselves near you not to support your ascent, but to continually measure their position against yours. Your progress is observed not with genuine admiration, but with silent calculation. Achievements are met with faint praise, delayed recognition, or a quick pivot back to their own story, subtly recentering the dynamic. Psychologically, this behavior often grows from unresolved insecurity and envy, where another person's growth is unconsciously experienced as a threat to identity rather than inspiration. Instead of confronting their own stagnation, they regulate self-worth by remaining mentally ahead of those they label as peers. The true danger lies in the subtlety. Because the rivalry is unspoken, you may begin to doubt your own intuition, questioning whether you are overreacting. Yet patterns speak clearly. Support peaks during your struggles and fades during your success. Advice flows when it reinforces their superiority and disappears when your independence becomes undeniable. Over time, this creates a quiet psychological erosion, where you unconsciously downplay victories or dim ambition to preserve harmony. Long before modern psychology named these dynamics, Machiavelli observed that rivalry often hides behind alliance when direct conflict would reveal intent. An open enemy is visible, but a hidden competitor gains proximity without resistance. Recognition is not about suspicion, but clarity. True alignment does not recoil from your growth. When comparison replaces connection, distance becomes self-respect, and silence becomes protection. Point 5, they react strangely to your boundaries. Boundaries reveal more than confrontation ever could, because confrontation invites performance, while boundaries invite truth. When you set a limit, you are not attacking, explaining, or accusing. You are simply changing the rules of access to your time, energy, and presence. And it is in this quiet shift that people reveal who they really are. A fake friend does not experience boundaries as healthy structure. They experience them as rejection, as loss of control, as an interruption to a dynamic that once benefited them. Almost immediately, their tone shifts. The warmth that once felt effortless becomes measured. Conversations grow shorter. Enthusiasm fades. What was once freely given now carries conditions. This is not confusion. And it is not emotional hurt in the way they may claim. It is the discomfort of no longer having unrestricted entry into your life. Their behavior exposes the truth. The connection was never rooted in mutual respect, but in access. When access is removed, the illusion collapses. True allies, on the other hand, adapt without drama. They do not interrogate your boundaries or take them personally. They adjust because their connection to you was never dependent on entitlement. They understand that limits are not walls, but guidelines, and they respect them instinctively. False friends resist because boundaries threaten the role they were quietly playing. They may test you, guilt you, withdraw affection, or subtly punish you with distance. None of this is accidental. It is a negotiation attempt disguised as an emotional reaction. And here lies the power of boundaries. You do not need to argue, explain, or expose anyone. You simply observe. The moment you stop overgiving, over-explaining, or over-accommodating, the dynamic speaks for itself. Resistance is information. Conditional kindness is information. Silence, coldness, or sudden indifference are all forms of data revealing intent. Boundaries act like pressure. They do not create cracks. They reveal where cracks already existed. This is why they are so effective. They bypass manipulation and go straight to character. A person who valued you will remain. A person who used you will feel offended. Not because you changed, but because the arrangement did. In this way, boundaries become a filter rather than a weapon. They quietly separate those who walk with you from those who merely had access to you. And once you understand this, you no longer fear setting limits. You welcome what they reveal. Point 6, they are loyal to your face, neutral in your absence. One of Machiavelli's sharpest insights was this: loyalty that disappears in absence was never loyalty at all. True allegiance is not proven in moments of comfort or proximity, but in moments when you're not present to protect your own name. Fake friends reveal themselves not through obvious betrayal, but through quiet omission. They remain silent when your name is challenged, when rumors are circulated, and when your intentions are questioned behind closed doors. Psychology refers to this as passive disloyalty, the refusal to defend without directly attacking. On the surface, it appears harmless, even neutral, yet its impact is deeply corrosive. Silence in these moments is not innocence, it is a decision. It is the decision to preserve personal safety, social comfort, or status at the expense of truth. Machiavelli understood that power dynamics are rarely shaped by dramatic acts alone. More often, they are shaped by what people choose not to do. A person who benefits from your presence but withdraws their voice in your absence is not confused. They are calculating. They understand the social risk of alignment and choose distance when defense becomes inconvenient. Silence, in this context, is a form of consent. It allows false narratives to breathe, to settle, and eventually to harden into accepted belief. Modern psychology supports this observation through studies on bystander behavior, showing that individuals often avoid intervention not because they disagree, but because they fear social cost. The fake friend does not need to speak against you. Their silence does the work for them. Over time, this pattern creates an imbalance where you offer loyalty actively while they offer it conditionally. Machiavelli would caution that such individuals are not enemies, but they are not allies either. And mistaking them for allies is the true danger. The wise response is not confrontation, but recognition. When someone consistently vanishes at moments that require moral presence, they are showing you the limits of their character. Silence can be more revealing than speech because it exposes priorities without disguise. Words can be rehearsed and intentions can be performed, but silence reveals where loyalty truly ends. Once you see this clearly, you no longer seek validation from those who disappear. You adjust your expectations, tighten your inner circle, and reserve trust for those whose loyalty does not require your constant visibility to exist. Point 7. They benefit more from you than you benefit from them. This is the final and clearest signal, the one that arrives not with noise, but with a quiet, undeniable weight in the body and mind. When a relationship consistently drains your energy, consumes your time, and clouds your emotional clarity while offering little nourishment in return, it has crossed an invisible threshold. It is no longer sustained by mutual regard, but by extraction. You notice it in subtle ways first. Conversations that leave you tired instead of grounded, obligations that feel compulsory rather than chosen, and emotional labor that flows in one direction only. What once felt reciprocal begins to resemble a quiet toll being collected from your presence. Machiavelli understood that imbalance is never neutral. Where equality dissolves, resentment grows in silence. And where resentment is suppressed, exploitation quietly takes its place. This is not always the result of malice. Often it emerges from human nature itself, from unmet needs seeking relief wherever they are allowed to linger unchecked. The danger lies not in the other person alone, but in prolonged unawareness. When imbalance persists, the giver becomes depleted and the taker becomes entitled, each reinforcing the other's worst tendencies. Over time, your clarity dulls, your boundaries soften, and you begin to mistake endurance for loyalty. This is why awareness is the true corrective force. Awareness does not announce itself with confrontation or emotional displays. It restores balance by altering proximity. Quiet distance, not dramatic exits, is the most powerful response. By stepping back without explanation, without accusation, you allow reality to reveal itself. If the connection collapses when your constant giving stops, it was never sustained by respect. If resentment surfaces when you reclaim your time and energy, it confirms the imbalance you sensed all along. Machiavelli would remind you that power is preserved not through force, but through discernment. You're not required to justify your withdrawal, nor to educate others on your boundaries. Clarity is an internal act before it ever becomes an external one. When you recognize extraction for what it is, you naturally adjust your investment. You speak less, offer less, and explain less. In doing so, you reclaim your equilibrium. This is not cruelty, it is precision. Balance returns the moment you stop overextending into spaces that cannot hold you. And in that quiet recalibration, you rediscover something essential. Relationships that require your depletion to survive were never alliances, only arrangements waiting to end. Machiavelli never advised hatred or isolation. He advised clarity. To see people as they are, not as we hope them to be, is not cruelty. It is maturity. When you learn to observe calmly, fake friends lose their influence without ever being confronted. And often, the most powerful move is not exposure, but silence, distance, and self-respect.